Hello, everybody. In today's lesson, I want us to talk about graphing inequalities. I will review what inequalities are, solutions to inequalities, spend a good chunk of time learning how to graph those inequalities, and then go over this week's assignments, what you need to do for the rest of the week. So let's get started. Today's goal is you will be able to determine if a particular number is a solution to an inequality. We'll be able to explain what it means for a number to be a solution to an inequality, and then you can graph the solutions to inequalities on a number line. It's hard to do the graphing on the computer, so you're going to be seeing a lot of graphs and then saying what the inequality is that goes with that graph. I'm going to be talking about amusement park rides and heights. So when you guys go to Six Flags, you know that there's a certain height that you have to be in order to ride a particular ride. For most, it's 4 feet, meaning you have to be 48 inches or above to ride a ride. That's an inequality. Just a reminder, the definition for solution to an inequality is a number that can be used in place of the variable to make an inequality true. For example, 5 is a solution to the inequality C is less than 10, because it is true that 5 is less than 10. There are an infinite number of solutions to C is less than 10, including 9.9, 0, -4, -9, -10, the list goes on and on. So this variable C, this unknown value, can be any value that is less than 10. That is your solution. So right here we have a table with height requirements to ride certain rides at the amusement park. You'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen, I have some of our notes from our Monday lesson that have the inequality symbols with them. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and this equal sign is supposed to have a dash through it, not equal to. I'm going to keep this up here, and it's also posted on our class page so that if you forget which way the symbols go, you have a reminder. Now there's 3 rides we're going to be looking at. For the high bounce, you must be between 55 and 72 inches tall. So you cannot be shorter than 55, but you cannot be taller than 72. For climb-a-thon, you must be under 60 inches tall. Then for twirl-a-coaster, you must be 58 inches minimum. So for each one of those 3 rides, we're going to write an inequality and then use the variable h for the unknown height, and then we're going to represent each of the heights on a number line. So for number 1, with the high bounce, it says on our chart that you must be between, it's blocked, between 55 and 72 inches tall. So when I see that, what I know is that I can't, if I want to ride the high bounce, I can't be shorter than 55 inches. I can be 55 inches, but I can't be shorter than 55 inches. But I also know that I can't be taller than 72 inches. So that's one that's a little tricky. We have to think about that one. So this one, there's actually 2 inequalities that you can write. The first one would be that h, the height, has to be greater than or equal to. Because if you're 55 inches, you can ride that ride because it says between 55 and 72. So you can be, h must be greater than or equal to, and unfortunately, I don't have a number line symbol here with underline symbol. So I can write that as greater than. If I had underlining capabilities, I would underline it, 55. But the height cannot be more than 72 inches. So the height must also be less than or equal to 72 inches. So our height must be greater than 55, greater than or equal to 55, and it must be greater than or less than or equal to 72 inches. I can represent that on a number line as well as a way of graphing our inequalities. So say this is our number line right here. It's not labeled, so I do want to label it. Now I don't have enough dashes here for each to be 1. So what I'm going to do is start at 50 and count by 5s. So 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 72, so on and so on and so on. So I'm going to label my number line. Bear with me for one moment. So this will actually be 50. This will be 55 up here. 60, 65, 70, 75. That's as far as we have to go. And it's not perfect. It's not the neatest, but it works. And that's what I want you guys to take away from this, is that your number lines, your graphing, they don't have to be perfect, especially on the computer. It's so hard to like do everything, but it works, and that's what we like. So I know that one of the points that I need to graph is 55. So I'm going to put a solid dot at 55 because you can ride that ride if you are 55 inches. And I know that one of my other points is 72 inches. I'm gonna 72 is a little more than 70, but not quite 75. So I'm gonna put a dot right there. That's perfect. And then all those numbers in between 55 and 72 could be a height that you could be to ride the high bounce, could be a solution to our inequality. I'm going to fill those numbers in right there. Oops, I'm going to actually erase that one and make sure I don't go past 72. Perfect. So in order to ride the high bounce, I could be 55 inches. I could be 72 inches. I could be 60 inches, 65 inches. I could be 68 inches. Any number between 55 and 72 inches. If I am that height, you are that height, you can ride the high bounce. Now that one's actually probably the hardest of all of our inequalities. For the rest of them, they're actually going to be pretty easy because there's not the between. It's either under or over. So for climb-a-thon, you have to be under 60 inches tall. That means you have to be less than 60 inches. So the inequality that represents that height is that the height, h, must be less than 60 inches. And this one, it's not less than or equal to. It's just less than, because it says you must be under 60 inches. So if you are 60 inches tall, you cannot ride that ride. If you're 59 inches tall, you're under 60, so you're good to go. So on my number line, I'm going to, again, fill it in. So let's start, let's say 60 is right here. Oops, it's not gonna work. Oops, sorry guys. I'm still learning how to use all these cool features on Zoom where I can record the lesson and also type and annotate. Right, here we go. So let's say 60 is right here. I mean, here will be 61. Here will be 62, and then I'll go this way because we're really focusing on what's less than. This will be 59. This will be 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53. And so this middle-ish dash right there, that's 60. So I'm going to put a not solid, an empty circle at 60, because our solutions to our inequality do not include 60. 60 is not a solution to the inequality h is less than 60, because 60 is not less than 60. So it's any number less than 60. So 59, 58, so on. To graph that on our graph, I have to include all of the numbers on our number line less than 60. All the numbers to the left of 60 are less than 60. So I will draw my line going to the left and put an arrow at the end to show that it keeps going. That number line extended to the left, all of those numbers less than 53 that kept on going are also solutions. So you can ride Climb-a-thon if you are 40 inches tall, because that's less than 60. Looking at our last one, twirl a coaster, you have to be 58 inches minimum. That means our inequality is h, the height, must be greater than or equal to 58 inches, because the minimum is 58. In this situation, because it says 58 inches minimum, that means that if you are 58 inches, you can ride that ride. So knowing if it's greater than or equal to means really paying attention to the language. So if it says a minimum of 58 inches, that means that 58 is included in that inequality. That's a solution. But if it had said you have to be taller than 58 inches, we would know that it's not included. So it's really important to pay attention to the language of the question. That's where our English and ELA skills come into play. And same thing, we're going to graph the solutions to that inequality with another great graph. So I'm going to put 58 right here. And I'm going to, because 58 is a solution to our inequality, I'm going to put a solid line at 58. And then I'm going to draw a line showing all of our possible solutions. So because you have to be taller than 58 inches or taller, and its h is greater than 58, that means it's all the numbers to the right of 58 on the number line. So 59, 60, 61, so on and so on. You'll notice if you look at the inequalities, there is a bit of a pattern where h is less than 60. The tip of the arrow is pointing to the left, so our line goes to the left. H is greater than or equal to 58. The tip of the arrow is pointing to the right, so our line goes to the right. That is a pattern. Pay attention to that. It makes sense. Right, if that was confusing to you, what I want you to do is pause the video, rewind, and watch that part again. I'm going to keep going and do number 2. So Han's cousin is 55 inches tall. Han doesn't think that she is tall enough to ride the high bounce, but Kieran believes that she is tall enough. Do you agree with Han or Kieran? So do we agree with Han where he says she's not tall enough to ride the high bounce at 55 inches? Or where Kieran says she is tall enough? Let's take a look. So it says to ride the high bounce, you have to be between 55 and 72 inches. And we determined based on that language that between 55 and 72 means if you're 55 inches, you are included in that height and you are tall enough. So I agree with Kieran that she is tall enough to ride the high bounce, just barely. She is tall enough. I'm going to erase my annotations, clear my drawings, and we're going to move on to the next one. All right, so for this one right here, we're going to have to go back and forth between those two charts. So Priya can ride the Climb-a-thon, but she cannot ride the high bounce or the twirl coaster. Which, if any, of the following can be Priya's height? So 59 53, or 56 are our options. So she can't ride the high bounce. She can't ride the twirl coaster. She can ride the climathon. So if she can ride the climathon, that means she is under 60 inches. But she can't ride the twirl coaster. So we know she's not 58 inches tall. And she can't ride the high bounce. So we know she's not 55 inches. So we know that she's under 60, but she isn't taller than 55, and she isn't taller than 58. So 59 inches is taller than 55, so it's not that one. It could be 53 inches. Can't be 56 inches. So the only one that works is 53 inches because that's under 60, it's also under 55, and it's also under 58. We're going to skip these guys. Actually, we can do 4 and 5 really quickly. So 4, Jada is 56 inches tall. Which rides can she go on? So if she's 56 inches, she can ride the high bounce because she's between 55 and 72. She can ride the climathon because 56 inches is under 60. But she can't ride twirl coaster because she's not 58 inches and 56 is less than 58. So at 56 inches, you can ride the high bounce and the climathon. And then last one, Kieran is 60 inches tall. Which rides can he go on? So 60 is between 55 and 72, so he can ride the high bounce. Climathon, he is under 60 inches. Ooh, he is 60 inches, so he's too tall for the climathon. But he can ride the twirl coaster. 58 inches, 60 is more than that. All right, so my goal is that right now, your goals are that you can figure out if a number is a solution to an inequality, that you can explain what it means for a number to be a solution to an inequality. Again, go back to our definition right here. And that you're able to graph solutions to an inequality on a number line. It's so much easier on paper than it is on the computer. I understand that. So for your check for understanding for this video, is I'm going to actually show you graphs. There's 4 graphs right here. I want you to write the inequality that matches with the graph. So for this one right here, you see that it's at -2 and it goes to the left. That means that this right here, the answer, the variable, I'll just use x, has to be less than -2. But because it's a filled dot, it's less than or equal to. -2 is a solution. So this would be x is less than or equal to -2. You can use any letter you want for the inequality. I don't care. Just pick a letter for your variable. Write the 4 inequalities that match with these graphs. And you're going to answer those on our class page on the Graphing Inequalities subpage in the post right here. Discussion, Graphing Inequalities. That's where you're going to put your answers for this. And then for this week, your assignments are on Khan Academy. You will get full credit this week if you go on Khan Academy, watch the 2 videos that I assigned to you, and complete the 3 assignment sets with questions on Khan Academy. If you do those and you watch these videos that I posted, you will get full credit for this week's math work. As always, if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me, call me, text me, send me a message, send me an email, call me, beep me if you want to reach me. All right, guys, I will see you later. That's the end of this video. Go answer those discussion posts and get started on Khan Academy. Have a good day. Bye.